All right, welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 503. Today is the 3rd of July, 2024, and we are going to get into answering your local SEO questions here shortly. We've also got a special guest joining us today, and this worked out really nicely. We've got the 3rd of July today in the US. Tomorrow's a holiday, the 4th of July. And then we've got Friday and then the weekend coming up. But while Bradley's taking care of a couple things in the background, I'm going to say hello to Chris. Chris, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, super busy as usual, and yeah, no holiday in Austria, so I'll be working tomorrow.
Outstanding, outstanding. Bradley, how about you? How are you doing? And are you up to anything fun for tomorrow?
Yeah, Chris, it is a holiday here, and I'm still going to work tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So, I always do every day, but yeah, no, I've got family. I'm visiting family now, so and they're coming in. Some more is coming in about an hour. So right about the time we finish Hump Day Hangout, so it'll be good. And then I'm taking most of the day off tomorrow to hang out with family and enjoy it, and then most of the weekend too. So it'll be a nice time off, especially in a hot summer. It's been stupid
Yeah.
hot, so it's good to
Yeah.
get a few days
I've got
off.
a pretty wild and crazy 4th of July. I am also going to be working in the morning, and then we're going to be making hot dogs. So that's my
Right
wild
on,
and crazy plans.
right on.
Well, just a couple of quick announcements before I hand things over, kind of Bradley, for you to do some introductions. Wanted to remind people, I think we just today put it out. We're going to be talking with Matt Mellinger. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I feel bad.
It's either that or Mellinger.
Matt, when
So
you see
it's
this,
one of the others.
send me a message and be like, damn it, Adam.
Yeah.
I think we did this when we had you on. Anyways, I apologize. But Matt's going to be on from SEO Gets talking and sharing a lot more about that in a webinar with Bradley. So that's on in
Monday the
Circle.
8th.
What's that?
Isn't that on Monday the 8th?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So next Monday. So if you haven't gotten that, head over to semanticmastery.com, get on the email list. We send that type of stuff out as well as posting it in the Circle group. So you want to find out about that. That was really well received on Hump Day Hangouts. He did a little bit of showing, but he's going to get really into depth on stuff, which is it's a really, really cool tool. Let's see. Also wanted to say I will post the link in here. We've got a couple cool deals going on for 4th of July. So not going to go through all of that, but definitely want to check it out. That's going to be wrapping up here at the end of the week. So I'll pop the link in. If you're live, you can check them out. If you're watching the replay, hopefully you see this before Friday or Saturday, and you can take advantage of some of those deals. So with that said, Bradley, I kind of want to turn it over to you if you want to introduce the mystery guest, if you will.
Yeah. So Damon, come on,
Hey,
pop on for a minute. What's up, man? This is everybody probably needs to know introduction. Damon Nelson, been a friend of ours for many years now. I ran into him again and kind of got caught up with him a bit at the SEO spring training event earlier this year in Scottsdale. So it was certainly a pleasure getting to see you again, Damon. It's been too long. And we offered to have him come on Hump Day Hangouts just to be as kind of a guest as we've been doing recently, guys. And just wanted to bring him on and just have talk with Damon a little bit and find out what he's been up to and all that. And I think he's got something that he wanted to share with the group because he was telling me about some pretty cool. He's always got cool stuff going on anyway. So it was interesting to hear about some of the newer projects that I had not heard about. And so, anyways, Damon, with that, how are you, man?
I'm great. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm excited about being on the call, especially right before July 4th.
Yeah.
So everybody can have a chance to relax and kind of watch the replay.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll
Yep.
see. So
Um,
how are things with you, man? And what do you got for us today?
well, I wanted to go over kind of our the biggest question we have, because we do have a lot of tools, is how do they all fit together? What do they all, how do they, which ones do I need and how do they all work together? And our flagship is RSS Masher, which y'all are members of too. And we've done a lot of things with beyond just RSS Masher. And I kind of, if you don't mind, let me share a screen real quick.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
So
Got it.
perfect.
Yeah.
So we've talked probably in the past, and in fact, we've done some calls together of RSS Masher. So this is kind of like our flagship product. This was what happened whenever, and just to give you some back history real quick, is Yahoo Pipes used to be the primary RSS syndication source. Now, this was back in the late 90s. This is when RSS finally came out, and all the news agencies were pulling from Yahoo Pipes to do news articles. And RSS feeds were what was generating everything. And so RSS feeds stands for really simple syndication. So back then, it was to distribute your content so news agencies could pick it up. Well, Yahoo Pipes went out of business. They just closed down their service. But it was kind of a neat service because you could go out and grab like 20 of the news sites that you really wanted to keep track of to repost their content or syndicate their content and combine it all together, and it would come out as a single feed. And so that's what we kind of took over, and we built this RSS mashing source. And for the longest time, all it was just RSS feeds. So take it to 2023, and we've added a lot of new content that you can use with RSS feeds or with RSS Masher. But in addition is AI came out. So we decided, well, we want to mash all these Zim writers, the Jaspers, the ones that the AI writing tools that really didn't have a publishing side of it. They would push it to WordPress, but good luck if you can get images to match up, and good luck if you wanted voiceover or video. So we kind of made an enhanced publisher part. And Wayne said, well, we can have these two work together. Why not take our RSS feeds and rewrite them? Why not do content curation models with our AI tools inside AI Masher? So that's kind of what I want to just show you, the overview map today of what we've got, how all the tools work together. And at the end, I'll tease you a little bit with a new product we have coming out called Book Masher, that's more of the fun stuff.
Okay.
But all this is really to get automated content, so you're consistently posting quality content that people want to read into your WordPress, your blogger sites, your IFTT networks. The biggest deal is the freshness, the consistency of posting. And AI has made it a lot better that we can rewrite content now. So that's where we're going with this today. And just a couple other things, you may have even heard of VidPenguin. This was an old product we updated a few years back. It's called VidPenguin 2. It's on AppSumo, pretty decent price, but it was to push URLs through the network. So it's kind of a dated tool, but it still works just perfect. And of course, we got e-com sites. We have a minion builder database, and people go, well, why do I need minions? Well, if you've got 30 sites, you've got 300 sites, whatever the number is you have on your PBN network or your backlinking network, you need more than just your name as the author. You need multiple authors to give it a little expertise, a little a variance from site to site. So we kind of had a database, and that's why we built a database, so we keep track of all the minions. And I'll go over some of the other ones as we kind of go over the outline here, the workflow. Okay, so the biggest question is, RSS Masher has all this stuff going with it. Well, just give me an overview of what it does. So RSS Masher, here is the input, and here's the output. So we could take website feeds, RSS feeds, YouTube channels, YouTube playlists. We can even do G Sheets. And I've got a really cool trick that I do with Feedly. I do Feedly to Zapier to G Sheets, and G Sheets straight into RSS Masher, and then I syndicate the content. And why I do that is Feedly, you can hook up some really good articles that don't have a traditional RSS feed, but they have an API in with Feedly. And this is why this is a really neat trick right here, is the G Sheet. But AI Masher, that's our new tool. And we can bring in all this content, plus we actually write content ourselves that can go into RSS Master. So you can, instead of using any RSS feeds or any automated syndication sources, is you can write your own AI content and just send it straight over RSS Master to take advantage of the scheduler. And the scheduler and syndicator is all in one tool. And you can post once an hour, once every day, once every 3 days, whatever your schedule is. You can post multiple times a day to multiple categories. So this is kind of the power of the RSS Master. We combine all your inputs and we post to WordPress, master sites, and now we do webhooks. Well, the advantage of webhooks that work with Zapier and Integromat, or it's called Make now, is you can go out to multiple sources. In fact, you can go out to IFTTs with your webhooks. And if I'm not mistaken, we've tested it with IFTT, and I think these webhooks actually will work. We're going to be kind of adjusting these over the fall to make sure that they work with the IFTT networks. But from here, as soon as we post content, we want to syndicate it. So we send it out to Omega Indexer. We can zap it. We can do a make webhook to promote the actual post URL link. So as soon as the post is made, we're going to go out and syndicate it. And this is our own tier 1 backlinks. These are visual backlinks in booster pages. And we have a tool called AI Indexer. We started it last year. We kind of put it on the shelf, and we're going to re-release it in the fall. That is it's Omega Indexer on steroids. It's going to be niche related indexing, which is very unique because a lot of the indexers only just send it out as indexed links or to request links indexing. AI Indexer is going to send it out and saying, this is dog training related indexing niche link. So that's what we're hoping to do with AI Indexer as a fall release. And we're building a back-end PBN network with all these sites that we're building. Is we got some quality sites now, and we don't have a lot of ads on them. They're primarily built to do targeted links back to our own products and back to affiliate products. And so we'll have a target link network, and then we have our master site. So we're going to be we syndicate currently, and we're going to add more syndication sources. So input, mash it, post it, syndicate it. That's about the 4 steps that we do. And AI Master is our new tool that we're bringing in, or that we've written over the last year. And you can rewrite an article. You can do a curated model, which is like putting a paragraph in front of the content itself, saying, and have the AI read the content and give a journalistic summary of what the content is.
That's cool.
Instead of it's not considered duplicate content now, it's considered curated content.
Right.
And you can still use the Google or the images that come across on the RSS feeds as well. So curation is great for very current news, very current sports, very current politics, especially. And you can slant it to, if you're writing politics, you could have a curated model for right politics and left politics.
Yeah. That's funny. I could see this being pretty powerful for creating local sites. I mean, for many things, but I'm just thinking in local SEO terms, finding a good domain that's been expired but had geographically relevant links already pointing to it from other local businesses or whatever in the same area, and then kind of creating like a local news or media or even industry type specific site that that could be used for helping to push maps and things like that, because I know that links with geographic relevance have an influence on Google Business Profiles ranking. I discovered that about, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And so I've been going out and hunting down expired domains that have relevant link profiles to their local area, and then rebuilding those with, blog platforms, CTRify, things like that. But I could see doing this kind of to where it would be regular content updating, consistently from news and event sites in the same physical area or general area. And that could add significantly more value to those blogs because they almost become like local media sites. You know what I mean?
Yep. One of the things too that we've seen a lot of traction on, and I do the same thing, is I don't start new domains anymore. I just go to the expired domain market and I go shopping is what I call it. But I've got a lot of expired domains. I search by Ahrefs, DR scores. I look at the Majestic score on the Moz score, and I try to buy with high DH value or DA values on Ahrefs. But ours is not necessarily local, but ours are new sites and they're niche sites. Like I have one on history, of World War II history, and I've got some new ones coming in on model trains, which I never even expected that to have such a high affiliate market to it. But it's a very passionate niche. So we're building up sites like that, and we're trying to answer, people also ask questions. So we're using tools like Questify and our own tool AI Masher, and we'll go out and get 300 questions about model trains, and we'll filter it down with Ahrefs to find the top questions with the most traffic. And then we take those questions either over to Zimwriter, or we'll just go straight into AI Masher, and we'll generate AI search intent articles. And they're all 500 to 1,000 words. They answer the question in the top paragraph. We got images, we'll do a voiceover with it, and then we'll add some underlying or some detail to answer that first paragraph. But we get the answer in before the top of the fold, kind of like the journalist tried. And then once we have that, we pass those articles up to RSS Masher. So we already have feeds set up going to these categories with current news. And then we blend in current news with our own people also ask questions. So there's a lot of questions, local news and all that. And then we push over, to our WordPress. So AI is making a big difference on what we're doing as far as building the back end systems for us, as far as the PBN networks. But we've got like 3 different PBN networks that we're running, and almost all of them are expired domains that have they had high authority, and we tried to retain that authority with good quality content.
Got it. Very cool, man. It's cool to see how you got all these pieces working together now, because you've been working on these for years and years and years. Yep. And so it's really cool. Very good. So what else you got going on?
I've got this booster pages. And in fact, I know y'all use that a lot too.
I do. Yeah.
Booster pages are what we made is they're actual visual backlinks. If you can imagine Pinterest, let me see if I can bring up
I use booster pages mainly as like an indexer for a lot of my blog sites and PBNs and things like that, because I'll just connect it via RSS feed and it's set and forget. That means any additional posts we publish are going to automatically go out into category, topically relevant clustered blogs. And so I use it mainly for an indexer more than anything, and it works great because it's just automated with the RSS feed input. It's fabulous for that.
Yeah, it's simple. It's just visual backlinks is all it is. Let's see if I can try not to show everything here. Okay. So a booster page sends your links over to sites like this. This one is, and we subdomain a lot of club sites. So this is healthvideos.club. We have pages, posts, links, all types of subdomains in here. But the ability that you have inside of your WordPress post to choose, let's say you have a keto diet, is we have some that are focused around keto diets. So we combine it with other people that have keto diets that are part of the booster page network. So you may have, in this keto, you may have 10 different customers that are sending all their keto here. Now, what this does is this is an ever scrolling content here. And you want something like this that can still keep your link active over time. So if Google crawls this page, this link here will always be on this particular page. So you have built a link with it. Now, what we do is we backlink this first image. So we have backlinks coming into this first image, and then anytime a new post comes up, you get to be the first image up here. And we take your link and we backlink it. So we have a tier 2s coming to this tier 1, and the tier 1 is pointing to your site. So if somebody clicks this, it goes to this is actually one of my sites, Keto Fast Trim. This is on my blogger network. And as new ones come in, it just pushes all of it down, and you get to be up here. And we also have people coming in here all the time doing likes, dislikes, and see how it's a game almost and they're surprisingly, it's just having a little interactivity in with this causes people to start scrolling and start liking. We have a lot of engagement with these sites when they actually hit them, just to see what the full picture looks like. So anyway, Google is also seeing that we have engagement with these. And you can kind of go over here. And so there's not actual written content on here. It's all visual backlinks back to the original sites. And these create the indexing links that you're looking for there.
Yep.
So
yeah, and that's what I said. I use it mainly like an automated indexer via RSS feed input, which
Yep.
makes it so easy to set up a site. And as we're publishing new content on the site, I know it's going out to booster pages to help it index, and they're relevant because and it also creates co-citation. You know what I mean? It's almost like what RSS feeds can do by commingling different feeds with your own feed. You can kind of siphon authority because it's that co-citation effect. So,
yep.
Very good, man.
Yeah, and these are the input methods, RSS feeds. We've got an API. You can drop in a CSV of all your sitemap links if you want to. Manual input. Of course, it's linked to RSS Masher and VidPenguin too. And then comes in here, and the only thing you have to do is select what topic, and then we do the rest. So it's very, very simple. So this is what we've been working on. And you ready for me to move on to the next one?
Yeah. And then we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left because then we got to get into questions. So yeah, sure. Let's get into the next one.
Okay. We built a product called Bookmasher.
Okay.
Bookmasher is if you want to write your own book for Amazon. Okay. A lot of people don't want to put in the effort and time to build your own book. And we've made it very affordable. You just plug your OpenAI in there. You can write DIY books. You can write illustrated cookbooks. So Bradley, I have several cookbooks out.
No kidding.
And the recipes are pretty good. I've tried maybe 1 or 2 out of the 100 recipes. But I also have a pen name out there. So I have an Indian cookbook with a pen name author. And I've got another pen name that's writing my travel guides. So I have travel guides. And we're doing coloring books. Coloring books are really popular. We're bringing in Friday, we're bringing in word search. So you can combine word search puzzles. You can make activity guides. You can make coloring books, you can make travel guides, and you can make DIY books. Now, why do you need this? Well, a lot of people want that royalty income coming in off Amazon KDP. What I used to do when I was selling local, I had a book called Online Marketing Blueprint with my name as the author. I co-authored it with the guy. And that would be my calling card when I went out to sell local business. So I would put my business card inside of it, but I gave them a book that had retail value $29.95 on the back on the ISBN code. So that local client now has the complete guide to online marketing. And I sat across from them. We talked about QR codes and restaurant menus going into local businesses. And it increased my sales rate from like 1 out of 20 clients I would get to about 5 out of 20 clients I would get. So your closing rate goes up when you have your own book. But with the self-publishing going on right now with Amazon, here's the trick. I've made more money with writing DIY books, not selling on Amazon. So let me tell you how it's done. Is I still do web design. And part of my web design is I just had a plumber, and he said, well, I quoted him price. And it's, usually around $5,000 for the full package. He goes, well, I can't really afford that. So we started working down, and then I negotiated with him, and he had a price and I had a number. I said, I will do this. I will write you a book about plumbing, local repair plumbing, how to do your own repairs as a DIY book. And I will put your name on it. And we agreed that it was $750 in the contract. So in effect, he paid me $750 for a book that took me about 3 to 4 hours to write. Okay. So that was pretty good. And I closed the deal on the web design. So I'm probably about 2/3 of the way done on that web design. So I did that. I thought, well, I'm going to do that with another client. So I have a landscaping client that my wife is picking up on bookkeeping. And I do a lot of landscaping myself. So I thought, well, I'll do a landscaping book for him to close the deal on bookkeeping. So he signed up with her bookkeeping, but I gave him a landscaping book with his name on it. Again, it's a DIY book, and it took me probably a day to write it, and I put some illustrations in there. It's a 100-page book. It's got his name on it. I haven't published it yet. He's going through making his own edits, which, when you pass it off to somebody else now, it takes time to get it back. So think in terms of what you can do with books besides publishing, because publishing's easy, and you can buy your own book back for $8, $9, and you can hand that off to the customer with his name on it and his photo. And now he takes ownership, and you've given him something that he can't do himself. So yeah. That's one of the things. Other things that you can do with the Book Masher is the puzzle books and the coloring books. So I've got a client that's he's down near A&M, but he does local restaurants. So he's building coloring books for Texas Aggies, and I think he's doing the University of Texas. So he's got different coloring books for the different colleges around there that he is basically selling as a package to restaurants for kids to color in. So it's kind of neat deal. So think in terms when you're doing books, it's not only just Amazon, but you can use these for local sales, and they're really good to actually get the close and to add value to your target price.
When are you launching that?
This is available right now.
Okay.
And in fact, you can see we got nonfiction books, illustrated cookbooks, travel guides, and coloring books. We're coming out with this week puzzle books, but we're going to have children's books and gardening and coffee table books coming out by the end of July.
Very cool.
It's pretty
It's
neat
awesome,
deal.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see all this stuff come together. So,
Yep.
well, we appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing what you've been up to lately. And we'll have to, you and I will just have to have a private conversation. Again, just kind of catch up a little bit. But we certainly appreciate you coming on and checking that stuff out, and just get with Adam too.
Okay.
And we might talk about seeing when the AI master stuff. I'd like to see some more about that.
Yeah,
actually.
definitely. I was about to say, I think, I mean, all of it's super interesting. I had tried doing more manually kind of what you had set up there, what you talked about first, Damon, and I'm sure other people have too. So I think incorporating the AI master in that process of producing this content, getting it published, maybe spending some more time on that. I'm pretty sure people would be super interested in that. So maybe we could work something out.
That sounds good. Thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Man. Anytime, Damon. Good to see you, buddy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So, guys, we got a bunch of questions. So there's no way we're gonna get through all these questions today now, but we'll get through what we can. And so we're gonna have to just kind of hit rapid fire. But we got a bunch of questions here, which was
All right.
pretty interesting.
I'll let you get to it.
Yeah, let me grab the screen and we'll jump right into it. Try to get through what we can. The first one is from Ron. He says, what's the difference between a money site ID page and a location landing page? The money site is the self-hosted site, which is where the location landing page will be. The location landing page is the page linked to from the Google Business Profile. Whatever you put as the website URL in the Google Business Profile when you're optimizing the GBP, that is the location landing page. Think about it. It's the landing page that you land on when you click the website URL or button from the Google Business Profile. That's why it's called the location landing page. It should be on the same site as the self-hosted site. But a lot of the times the businesses will link to their homepage, and service area businesses do that all the time. But if they've got a bunch of location pages, like that they're trying to, rank in adjacent areas, etc., then it makes more sense to link to a dedicated landing page that is optimized to corroborate how the GBP is optimized. So anyways, I've done a lot of training on that, but the money site is the self-hosted site. The location landing page is usually on that. It's just going to be the specific page URL that is linked to from the GBP. An ID page is the unique resource identifier that we can build and control, at least partially control, some of the data that is fed into the web that Google uses to build the knowledge graph for a local entity. In other words, an ID page is supposed to be a unique or the @ID field in local business schema. That is what it is referencing. When I talk about an ID page, I'm talking about what you put in the @ID field of local business schema. There's an @ID field for organization schema as well. But the way that I kind of separate the two is organization schema is broad information. It's supposed to be information about the brand in its entirety, its totality, not any location specific information, especially if it's like a multi-location brand. But with local business schema, that is location specific branded entity information, right? So that's information about a brand. Yes, it can have a local business can be part of a larger brand, right? And that's why you can have what's called like parent organization in where it references the main brand and all of that in local business schema. But the @ID field in local business schema should have, if you're going to use that for SEO purposes, you should put a resource there that the Googlebot will then go follow to that resource, which is why there's the @ID field to begin with, is to tell the Googlebot at this resource, you can find validating information about this specific branded location, right? So the specific branded location. So corroborating evidence, validation of the name, address, phone number, website, who the business is, what they do, and where they do it. And you can reinforce all of that in the ID page, because when you have a dedicated resource for that, right? And that's why we build an ID page, because then now we have a dedicated resource that we reference in the @ID field of the local business schema, so that when your Googlebot comes to recrawl the page, now it's going to see that @ID field or URL. It's supposed to be unique resource identifier, but it'll be a dedicated URL that then it goes and follows to that page, at which point it spiders out from that page to all of the branded and supporting assets that have accurate information published about that specific business or branded location. Does that make sense? In other words, you want to go out and extract all of the page URLs that have accurate information published about that local business. And then consolidate them all into one document, one web page, which is what the ID page is. And we reference those URLs either through hyperlink and embed or by putting them into a Google Sheet. And then what we do is concatenate. So that's hyperlink the page URLs to relevant keywords in a Google Sheet. And then we publish the Google Sheet and embed that in the ID page. And the reason for that is because then when the Googlebot comes to the money site, the self-hosted site, the location landing page, which is where the local business schema should be inserted, is in the location landing page, then it's going to crawl. When it goes to recrawl the page, it will see that at ID field, follow that resource to dedicated URL to the page, where then it spiders out from there to all of the branded and supporting assets that have accurate information published about that specific branded location. So do you understand? It's our way of being able to inform the knowledge graph, essentially help Google develop the knowledge graph for the specific local brand. And it's very, very powerful when done properly. And then it also can become a primary link building target, because now you have a dedicated like entity hub that of all the information that is reinforced, that is accurate, that validates specific branded location information. And so if you can build links to that ID page that are topically and or geographically relevant, aren't you pushing link equity and relevance into the entire knowledge graph for that specific branded location? That's a yes, because that's what you're doing. Again, same reason why when we reference the page URLs that have accurate information published about that business. When I say reference, I mean hyperlink, embed, or putting into the published G sheet. We reference those URLs so that the Googlebot will find them and pull all of that data into the knowledge graph that it's building, it's already developing for that specific branded location. But for the same reason, that's why we want to build links to that, because when we build links to that with proper links, relevant links is going to distribute across all of those properties, thereby powering up all of the branded and supporting assets from one point, from one main kind of hub, so to speak. So it's a very powerful strategy. I've been doing it for many years now. And once the Google business websites went away, which that's a different asset that was retired in March, can't even access them anymore. The ID page became the perfect substitute for that. So that's what we use as our three primary kind of assets. What I call tier 0 assets are the self-hosted site, that's the organic side of things. Then there's the Google Business Profile, which is the maps side of things, and the ID page, which really kind of pulls everything together and connects everything. If that makes sense. It's like the third leg of the stool, so to speak. So hopefully that's clear. Karen says, what answering service do you use and how do you pitch it as add-on to businesses? I use answerconnect.com. I've been using them since 2014 when I first set up my first call center for tree services. I've been using AnswerConnect ever since. There are other options out there, just to be clear. But we are currently also having one developed using AI instead. It's aianswer.us. So this costs more in development, but overall, once you pay the development costs, then it actually becomes less expensive in the long run because of the less costs than it is for AnswerConnect. So I'm currently, for my local SEO agency, Tree Care HQ, I'm having this app developed and it does a lot more than just answer. It can also do outbound calls, SMSs, and this integrates fully with High Level. So this is currently in progress. We're about 5 or 6 weeks into development. It should be done roughly in the next couple of weeks, probably 2 weeks or so. Should be ready to be fully live and integrated into my agency at that point. But in the meantime, I've been using this one, AnswerConnect, for my clients, for my tree service clients, is setting this up for them. Hopefully that's clear. How do you pitch it as an add-on to business as well? In the tree service industry, it's quite easy because, and probably many other home service type contractors that aren't bigger organizations or operations. Like with tree services, that's an industry where it's usually very, the companies are usually small. It's usually just the main tree guy himself, the main arborist or whatever. And then it's him and his crew. And that's usually in the tree service industry what it is. Now, certainly more ambitious tree guys will sometimes have multiple crews and things like that. But the majority of the business owners that I engage with for my agency are in the tree service industry are working contractors in that They are out on the either up in a tree, or they're running equipment, or they're managing their trees, their crew. So the labor crew, that, you know, there's climbers and groundsmen and all that kind of stuff. But whatever, most of the tree guys that are my clients are working contractors. They're not just some boss somewhere, right? They're actually out in the field doing tree work all day, every day. And so they miss calls. If the calls go directly to them, they miss calls all the time because they're busy. They don't hear it. They're running a chainsaw, whatever. And so with tree guys, it's easy because I can explain to them, like, and first of all, I ask tree guys when I get on a call with them, like, walk me through what happens when a lead comes in. Where is the lead generated? Like, how is it generated? Is it through phone call, contact form on your website? How does the lead come in? And when it does come in, what happens? Do you answer the phone? Does it go to voicemail? And I ask them these questions, and I let them tell me how inefficient, through their own words, by just asking them questions, they tell me their process of what they do when a lead comes in. And most tree guys don't have answering services. They just answer the phone when they're available, and when they're not, it goes to voicemail. So they miss a ton of leads that don't convert into, they have a call come in, but they don't convert it into a booked estimate request or quote request. So a booked appointment, because they miss the call, or it goes to voicemail. And maybe the prospective customer leaves a voicemail message, but because that customer didn't get an answer to their phone call, then they're going to call the next tree guy anyway, right after leaving a message. If, for those that do leave a message, because a lot of them won't, because a lot of them, they just want to get somebody on the phone and close that loop, right? Satisfy their query, which is, I want to book an estimate for a tree job, or tree work, right? And so with tree guys, when I ask them those questions about, tell me what happens when a lead comes in, where is it generated, how do you handle it, what happens if you don't answer the phone, all of that, they're literally telling me through their own words, and they start to realize how inefficient their process is. And then that's when I say, well, listen, because, by the way, I usually start that off with, what do you mean? What do you need most in your business? And most tree guys will tell you more leads. And then that's when I kind of transition into, like, well, okay, tell me what happens. How is the lead generated? What happens when it comes in, et cetera. And through that process, that's usually when we find out that it's not actually that some tree guys, yeah, they need leads, but other tree guys, they just have a really inefficient process. They don't answer the phone a lot of the times when the call's coming in from a real valid lead. So it's not that they need more leads, they need better systems. And one of those things that we can do, and I've been doing since 2014, was set up an answering service. Because I tell them, like, look, well, if you're not answering the phone, then you're losing a lot of potential customers that don't leave voicemail messages. And you're also, even those that do leave voicemail messages, do you have any stats? And most tree guys don't keep detailed records, so they can't give you actual statistics, but they'll tell you what they estimate, how many of those that leave voicemail message they actually convert into booked appointments. Because a lot of them end up that they'll call them back, but they've already got another tree guy out by that time, if that makes sense. So the point that I'm trying to make is, with an answering service, I tell tree guys, like, right off the bat, listen, through my experience of doing this for 10 years with tree guys, that even after the cost of setting up the answering service and paying the operation costs, which is just a monthly fee, most of my tree clients averages out to be roughly a 30% increase in revenue, even after the expense of the answering service, because they're now closing more leads, or more calls that are coming in are turning into booked quote appointments or estimates. You know what I mean? And so it's not that hard of a pitch, when you especially when you're asking the prospect about what their process is, and through them telling you what their process is, they come to realize how inefficient that is, and how they're really leaking leads. It's like a bucket with a hole in it. You know what I mean? Like, leads are coming in, but a lot of them are falling right back out because they're not answering or responding to them quick enough. And so with the answering service, I tell them, look, when a call comes in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, there's going to be a live person answering the phone, which satisfies a lot of consumers. Like, some consumers don't even look for multiple quote requests. They'll just, as soon as they get the first person that answers, and then they're satisfied. And so this significantly increases the conversion rate from an inbound call to a booked appointment, if that makes sense. And so it's not that hard of a sale. And especially, I've been charging $500 a month for that, which I have a kind of a legacy account with their Answer Connect, because I've been using them for so long. So my pricing's a bit different to what they have now. So I usually pay. Most of my operating cost for having a answering service for a tree service client is roughly about $300 a month, and I charge them $500 a month. Now it varies because it's by usage. So some areas where it's a lot more busy, my margins get smaller, or I might charge the client overrun for a particular amount of minutes used, etc. But for the most part, I don't really use it as much of a profit center as more so to help the business capture more leads. Because that's one thing is, again, guys, with SEO and lead generation, I'm sure some of you can relate to this. You do your job and generate the lead, but the client is doing a very poor job at fielding those leads, responding to those leads. And so what happens with the business? The client is going to say your leads suck. When you come to find out, no, your job is to generate the lead. And if we're doing that, then we should also be helping them have a better system, a better process for responding to the lead, following up in a timely manner, all that kind of stuff, so that they convert more of those leads into booked appointments. Because now that validates that our leads are good. It's not that the lead was bad, it's that their process sucked. And just having an answering service for a lot of home service type contractors is going to help them increase their booked appointment rate, their quote request, or a job survey rate, if that makes sense. Because they'll have more people, live body answering the phone. Somebody is satisfied. A lot of consumers will be satisfied that they got their call answered, and they can submit the project or the details of the service request, etc. And then the contractor, there's a number of things you can do with it. You can have a live transfer after all the lead information has been captured, or it can just be most of my contractors just get an SMS and an email as soon as the lead information is captured. And so they will call them back immediately or as soon as they're available. But again, it just satisfies a lot of the consumers that call, because now they had somebody answered the phone and took all their information, if that makes sense. So it's a great service to sell. You can make it a profit center for sure. I make small amount of margin on that in most cases, but in some cases it's really just about helping the business to get better results. Hopefully that makes sense. Chris says, do you still recommend your proximity push process for generating high quality leads from Google Ads? Proximity push wasn't about generating leads. It will occasionally actually generate a lead, but proximity push was about using Google display ads to help push Google Maps performance or Google Business Profile performance in map search. So essentially, that's why it's called proximity push. It was to expand the proximity of the coverage area that the Google Business Profile is given by Google in Google Map search. That's what the proximity push method was for. It wasn't for generating leads, not directly from ads. When done properly and set up properly, there is going to be times where those ads will generate leads, but that wasn't the intent of that process. The proximity push process was for using Google Ads as a CTR manipulation tool, but you're buying validated Google user traffic to then send click activity from validated Google user traffic within a specific defined geographic radius or area, however you define that in the ads campaign, with sending click activity direct to Google Maps. That's what that was for. That makes sense. That was not for generating. I mean, again, with the proper targeting and ad setup, there are going to be times where you'll actually generate a lead from that click activity, but that was buying validated Google user traffic to send engagement signals to the Google Maps profile or Google Business Profile via Google Maps. Hopefully that's clear. John says, where do you add schema codes to a website made in high level for a roofing business? Go to websites and go to settings. If you go to websites, select whatever site it is, then you'll see there's like 4 tabs at the top. It's pages, something else, settings. Go to settings, and then you can add global schema into the HTML header there. Or if you want page specific schema, which is the better way to do it anyways, you should go into when you're in the page editor. So like when you go into like the page builder to actually edit the page, the elements of the page, then in the top navigation menu, there are, you'll see tracking codes in one of the options in the navigation menu in the page editor. And you click tracking codes, and then there will be a header code and body code. So there's 2 tabs, and you can select which tab you want to insert the schema into. Usually it's going to be the header. HTML header. So that's page specific schema. That's what you probably are going to want to use, not global schema. Global schema would only be relevant for like organization or corporation, which is a more specific subtype. But for everything else, you're going to want to have page specific schema. So that's where you do it in high level. As you go into funnels or websites, doesn't matter. Go into the funnel and then select which page you want to insert the schema into. Go into the page editor for that particular page. And then in the navigation menu at the top, where it has like the pop-up, the SEO metadata, there will be one for tracking codes. Click tracking codes, and it'll be a pop-up window, and it has header. And then there's another tab for body. You can switch between the tabs and paste schema code in there and other tracking codes, etc. Conversion, tracking, pixels, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. Ron says, does the brand expander course have SOPs developed for VA? No, well, not SOPs, but the training is such that if you plug a VA into the program, that they should be able to do it. You don't, that's not something that if not, do you plan to? No, I'm not going to be building SOPs for that. The only SOPs are built by me in Semantic Mastery. And brand expander is not the type of thing that I think requires an SOP. So it's intended for you to be able to plug your VAs into the course, let them follow the training, and they should be able to execute those, create those profiles and optimize them the way that the trainer shows. That's not something that we're going to build SOPs for, just to be clear. All right. Okay, Rishi, says, I'm looking to track calls made to the number posted on GMB, organic MacPap search using high levels call tracking number. However, the business owner wants to retain his old business number and does not want to switch to high levels call tracking number. Any way around this? Not that I'm aware of. If to retain his old business number, well, you could always find out if that number could be ported into high level. So Lead Connector or Twilio, which Lead Connector phone is just high level reselling Twilio as far as I know. It's my understanding that they're just reselling Twilio, just like Lead Connector email is just reselling Mailgun. But you might be able to port that number into whichever service it is that you're using in high level, Lead Connector or Twilio. So you can contact high level support about it or Twilio support about it and find out also the carrier of the phone number for your client's business. You'd have to find out if those numbers are transferable or portable or whatever they call it. Yeah, portable, I think is what they call that actually. And if it is, then you should be able to start that process. I think that process, I've not done it in several years where I've pushed a phone number from one carrier to another, but I would assume that that's a lot easier to do now than it was a few years ago. I don't know. I've not done it, but that's what I would do is look into that to see if you can do that, then you're golden. If you can't do it, then I don't know how you would, what the workaround would be for that. So next one is from Sam. Sam says a CTRify, and PBN still worth pursuing in 2024 in light of recent SEO updates. Yeah, as long as you're doing it right. Absolutely. We were just talking with Damon earlier on this call, and looking at his master sites and AI master and stuff like that, which I could see some real good uses for that for local PBNs and things like that. So when done properly, yes, they're still very effective. It's all about relevance though, right? You find a good domain, it's relevant into a particular topical category, or it could be relevant to a specific area. That's what I call a geographic blog or a local blog, geographic link. But yeah, definitely. You find something that's relevant, then with decent metrics, with relevant links already pointing to it, buy the domain and then repopulate it with content relevant to that same category, the same, whatever topical category was in. And now you've got, good solid site with links that you can use to push relevance into whatever projects you're working on. It absolutely works as long as you know how to kind of mask your footprint and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very powerful. It's still effective. It's about relevance. I saw this one earlier. This was a question and comment about Local Fury from Eric. And Eric, I saw your question earlier, and I'm going, because we only got a couple of minutes left, and also just publish your question or post your question via support and say that I mentioned on the Hump Day Hangout to tag, that I would look into this for you. But you asked me if I could look at a a success plan for your project that you submitted to Local Fury? Well, typically no, but since you're asking on Hump Day Hangouts, I'll take a look at it for you, but you got to just ask in the right place. Hump Day Hangouts wasn't really the right place for that. Just posting, but I'm glad you did, because just mention that in support, and that I said for you to ask me to take a look at it, and I'll do that. I'll take a look at the campaign for it, and see what's going on. My guess is, you said that you did everything that was in the audit and that you had to pay for an audit. No, you didn't have to pay for an audit. If you chose to pay for an audit, that's fine. An audit was part of the onboarding fee, so it's not that anybody forced you to pay for an audit. There was an onboarding fee, and we did audits in Local Fury specifically so that we could identify on-page optimization or deficiencies of the entire project. There's entity analysis, on-page analysis for the self-hosted site and the GBP, and then backlink analysis. Engagement signals should be the last layer of things that you do for local SEO. And so if all those other foundational elements aren't done and done properly, then sending signals is not likely going to produce a result. And so the audit was specifically to address foundational deficiencies, to identify if there are any, and then how to correct them if there are. That's what the audits were for. And so it's not that you were forced to do it. That was part of the onboarding process, because we wanted to make sure that if signals are the last layer of things that you should be sending to a project, you should not be sending signals to a project until and unless the other foundational elements are in place and sound. Does that make sense? And so, and what we found was that no matter how many audits we did and how many suggestions we made, people passed the responsibility of the performance of the campaigns off entirely on us, not on the on-page and backlinks and everything else. All the other things that should be done first and foremost, before just sending signals to a project and walking away and saying that now this project should be, its performance is in your hands because I'm paying for some service, and now the responsibility is yours and I have nothing to do. I'm not saying that's what you did, Eric, but what we found is a lot of people did that. And no matter whether we did the audits or not, we go back and look at the audit 3 months later and 10, 20, maybe 30% of it's done. Okay. Well, you're complaining about lack of results, but you've got shit on page or poor backlink profile or no backlinks or whatever. And it's our fault that you're not ranking, correct? Yeah, that's what happens. So that's why we are redesigning our offering entirely, so that we are no longer going to be responsible for that. Because and I'm not saying you did that, Eric. I'm saying I'll take a look at your project. But when I do, just keep in mind, I'm going to re-audit the project, just like the original audit that was sent to you. And we'll see how much of it was done. Because, we've had other people ask about that in the past, and I've gone back and re-audited and found that maybe 30% of the recommendations were done, and yet they want 100% results. And so that's where therein lies the problem. So we're going to relaunch that with a completely different model, because it's just another layer. There's no magic bullet in SEO, guys. Like, other than sometimes, like, doing some offline marketing and having some, like, a flood of branded search and clicks from real people in a local area. That, other than that, because I've seen that rank even in very competitive markets, but it's fleeting. Once the kind of branded search and click stop, then soon that project will start to drop in search results again, or search performance. But other than that, seeing like real branded search and clicks that happen from offline marketing or offline advertising. Other than that, I've not seen any one thing that you could just do for local SEO to get results. I see it's a combination of all the things that produce the result. And what I've tried to do with the audit process, which is what you received via the local SEO audit that was provided as part of Local Fury, was the 19 points that I have found to be the biggest leverage, meaning the optimization points that produce the biggest performance gains with the least amount of effort. That's SEO titles, checking for duplication, competing pages, entity analysis. If the entity is not strong, then it's going to make all SEO efforts more difficult. So that's why we always start the audits with the first part of it being entity analysis, right? Then on-page optimization for the self-hosted site. There's more of a correlation between the optimization of the self-hosted site and the performance of a GBP now than I've seen in my entire local SEO career. And that is not a joke. So if you have poor on-page on the self-hosted site, the GBP's performance will suffer. So that's why we do that next. Then we do the GBP optimization. And there's all those things that we recommend through that, such as, are you posting regularly? Are you replying to reviews regularly? Are you getting reviews regularly? All those things matter. And so, and then lastly is off-page backlinks. Are you getting backlinks? Are they relevant backlinks? You know, are you over optimizing your anchor text? All of those things should be looked and checked before sending signals to the project and then expecting the signals to produce the result. So if those elements aren't done and done right, at least to a decent level, then it's unlikely that it will respond to signals. And so I'm not saying that that's what you did, Eric. I'm just saying those are all the elements that we tried to convey that should be optimized in the audit process, so that we're teaching you how to make sure that the projects that you do for your clients, or that you work on, any projects you work on, are set up to succeed. By just doing those things, it should perform a hell of a lot better. So anyways, like I said, post in the support and the appropriate channel for that, and say that I mentioned you, and that I would look at it. And I'll make a mention to our support manager, Chris G, to be on the lookout for it. So then I know which project it is. And over the next several days or so, I'll take a look at it for you. But I'm going to re-audit it, and we're going to see if the things that were mentioned in the first one were done. And I hope they were. And then if that's the case, then we'll probably identify some other things, maybe backlink something else, but I'll take a look at it for you. Okay. All right. Right on. All right, guys, we got to go. It's after 5 o'clock, and I've got family that is showing up. So I'm going to highlight the rest of these questions, or hide these, so that I'll have these for next week, and I'll pick back up on the questions that I didn't get to next week.
All right.
Appreciate
Good
you
Wednesday.
guys. Yep. Any questions in the comments? I don't see many.
Let's see. Brandon was asking something. Did you see that about the URL slug? But we can potentially answer that next week.
Yeah, Brandon, it depends. You don't have to really have Pittsburgh in the roofings, in the slug, especially if you already have it's not really necessary. You can remember, the URL is the first touch point for Google. That's how Google found the page to begin with. So the biggest elements of page structure are URL, SEO title, the page title, which is actually the H1. Then there's headings, which are H2s, and then subheadings, which are H3s, 4s, and 5s. Those are the biggest elements of the page. And so you can convey to Google without over optimizing through URL, SEO title, H1. If you kind of repeat the same terms over and over and over again, that's over optimization. So what I teach in the mastermind is to figure out the top level topic term and category terms, and you use one in the SEO title, one in the H1, and then variants and headings throughout the rest of the page, so that you're not over and you're not over optimizing. So it's not really necessary to put Pittsburgh in it. If the entire site is, if Google understands that the website is associated with a business that serves Pittsburgh or is located in Pittsburgh, then it's not necessary to have that in the URL. You can, but it's not necessary. I would also want to know what the SEO title is, the H1, et cetera, to make sure that you're not over optimizing. That's why it's too hard to answer that question definitively without more context, essentially. But again, we'll be back next week. If you want to post it more thoroughly, Brandon, you can use our questions form, and it'll go into this sheet that we're looking at, so that it'll be available next week, and I can answer it more thoroughly there. Or come join the mastermind and I'll answer it for you right away. That was a good pitch. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Everybody enjoy your 4th of July.
Bye, everyone.